She runs. Oh my God, the walls are coming in. Then he flips a switch. It catches this asbestos, which is highly flammable, catches it on fire. So now not only is the walls crunching in on you, but they're now on fire. Holy fuck. You're literally in hell at this point.
Cheers, Grace.
Cheers, Grace. Happy birthday. I miss you. I'll see you in a few weeks. Anyway. Surprise shots. Surprise shots. We don't know what they are because they're a surprise.
Oh, this is not going to be good.
I know. I'm sorry.
Come on, man. Seriously?
It was the only thing that seemed intriguing.
Ah! Oh, that wasn't that bad.
Fuck, I spit on my shirt. I'm an idiot.
Ooh, what was that?
It was that cognac and honey.
Oh, that actually wasn't bad at all.
No, it was
okay.
good.
That was fine.
I could sip on that. That had a little bit of cinnamon to it.
When I smelled it, I actually thought it was tequila. I don't know why that smelled like tequila to me.
No, it was not tequila.
That was good. I'm okay with that. I didn't like it as much the second time.
Neither did I. I think it's more of a sipping thing.
It would be a good addition to a hot toddy.
Oh yeah,
like that's what you're supposed to use for it.
Thank you, Endelin, for creating the Jan Fen Club. Jan Fen Club. Did you hear me say that?
Yes. Okay, Jan.
Marsha.
We're going to the castle. Right?
Is that where you want to go?
Well, aren't we? Did we finish up the kids situation?
Yeah, I was going to start this episode with...
Wrap it up on them?
Wrap it up? What do you mean, wrap it up?
No. On the kids. I can't remember what we covered.
He killed them.
All of them? Did we get to all of them at the end of it?
No. All right, so when he takes the three kids, he only kills the 3 kids out of 5. That's
3 out of 5. I mean, like, it's acceptable. It's a passing grade.
Crazy batting average.
Oh, I mean, that's actually a really good batting average when you think about it. 3 out of 5 is 6.
That's true.
600. You would be batting 600.
So he kills 3 out of 5, and then we're actually starting this episode when they find the bodies. So right after they find the bodies is June 15th when they find the bodies.
That's
No
today.
way.
Oh, is it today?
Yeah.
Yes.
Holy shit. That's crazy.
This is special.
I feel like you knew that.
It's July 15th.
God damn it.
Holy shit.
It's like, whoa, what a coincidence.
I just had to pull up my notes.
You have been staggering the episodes just so that you could do it on the end. And then you're like, God damn it, I got the month wrong.
Wait, I have to say, the surprise shot, can I dedicate it post-drinking?
No.
Okay.
That doesn't make sense.
We can do another surprise shot.
Well, I just remembered that
If you go get one, we'll do it.
I just remembered that it's Grace's birthday.
We'll go get
Our
one.
friend Grace, who's been our supporter for a while.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Go get one.
Okay. Tell me twice.
Yeah.
Have to.
Sorry,
Hey,
I'm trying to pull up
Lauren.
something. Let me kind of back up right quick. When I structured all these episodes, I found out that this is the absolute best way to get all the kid murders out the way and all that stuff, and then go into the murder house for a few episodes. So we are at July 15th. This is right when the kids were found, because remember Detective Geyer, he was using that shovel that the Holmes used to bury the kids.
Right.
Anyway,
he borrowed the same shovel. That's right.
He borrowed the same shovel. He finds these kids and their bones, and at this point, July 15, and Holmes has been in jail this whole time, right? Because of the fraud. He's been in jail for the fraud, and they were trying to pin him for murder as soon as they found some evidence, and they just did. So he's in jail forever, right? So at this point, they're like, this guy is a monster because he just killed 3 kids in cold blood, and not only in cold blood.
Truman Capote.
Yeah. No, I've never even read that book.
Really?
Yeah, I know it's like
of it.
Yeah, it's like the true crime mecca, apparently.
They also did a series. Ryan Murphy did a series. Like he has that
Really?
that feud series. The first season was about Betty Davis and Joan Crawford, and the second season was about Truman Capote and like the New York socialites of the 1950s, because he was going to write another like a sequel to In Cold Blood. Not a sequel, but like it was supposed to be his next big
sequel. And they're back.
An additional
The killers
book.
are fucking back.
Didn't he write Breakfast at Tiffany's as well?
He did.
Yeah, that's what he's known for.
But his last work of art was a story about these New York socialites and it was a whole big thing. So the season 2 of Feud focuses on Truman Capote.
At this point, Holmes is in jail, and the detectives and literally all of the newspapers, and you can see it, they just blow up because they're making money from these headlines, right? The more salacious, the better. Nothing's changed.
Nothing has changed.
So they're making money for it. So you're going to see all these headlines come out and everything. But he is in prison at this point, and they are investigating 63rd and Wallace. That's where the murder castle is. At this point, Holmes is in prison for the fraud. So they are going to the murder castle at this point. Does anyone know what it looks like, the castle?
No, I would need to see a photo.
All right. Well, I'm going to need to bring a photo.
That's very sweet of you, Andalyn.
Welcome to the castle where their souvenir is murder.
You are already an actor. You perform every single show. You do. You do.
I appreciate it, but I also don't like being lied to my face.
You don't give yourself enough credit. You don't. But you are asking much less, hey, is this good? Do you guys like this?
Yeah.
You don't ask it nearly as much as you used to.
No, only once an episode.
Yeah, because my buddy who was acting, who doesn't know who I am, who was...
My buddy.
Like, dude, he just walked in there and fucking did the scene.
Okay,
dude,
okay,
I was crazy.
baby.
Oh, I was like, fuck, that is so good. And you're just like... And Danny McBride was like, whoa. I was like, damn.
Okay, let's take it back. We're back in the murder castle.
It's not an actor that you guys would think would be
baby,
like...
Baby,
okay.
All right.
Mama, I
killed Dean. Yes, Sable. Yes.
All right. Oh, wait.
I killed Dean.
So this
What is that from?
That's one of our episodes. Remember?
That's from the Dean Coral episode.
Yes.
Mama,
I killed
Dean.
Yes.
This is the murder castle. So what we're focusing on here is not the first floor, not the third floor, the second floor and the basement. That is where the fun begins. The first floor, all that is shops. So this is your general outlets and even some specialty shops. A lot of them owned by Holmes. They were just fronts for making money and then going out of business. He had, as you'll see, one worker for him kind of
Fudge the books,
a Lucy Burbank. And obviously we're going to find out that Lucy Burbank is just a completely made up name. It's actually H.H. Holmes. But these shops were basically ran to get investor money, got shit on credit. Like, for instance, the apothecary got all their potions on credit and then sold it all and then didn't pay the loan, right? Stuff like that. So it's very short-term thinking, but at the time, it was easy to do because there's no internet, there's no instant connection, there's no credit. You don't have a credit report. Like, that does not exist, stuff like that. So no one knows if you're going to pay it back. They just go off trust. And when you're talking to a psychopath who is also a handsome young doctor, well, you're going to trust him pretty easily. So it's not your fault, right? And if you notice, the hotel does look massive, but it's actually really cheaply built. You remember, he got the cheapest labor and he fired everybody because you don't want them to know that they're actually building a trap door into a dungeon sex basement.
Oh.
But
well,
so
when
they
it was
would
a dungeon murder basement, I was like, oh, that's boring. But now it's a dungeon sex basement, I'm in.
Oh, yeah. As you heard last time, he definitely raped his victims, including the kids.
For sure.
There were, as you're going to see, a lot of children's bones were down there too.
I don't like that.
Because mama brings daughter or whatever. I mean, he is a complete monster, man. He is not above doing anything. I mean, the only thing I can say he probably didn't do is like eat the human flesh.
He's not a cannibal.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Honestly,
I mean, we give him a couple points for that.
But I wouldn't put it past him if he at least tried it, Like, honestly.
Little thigh meat.
I mean, because I've seen cases like there. You remember we did cases and it was like, yeah, I just wanted to try it.
Well, let's not add to the speculation. Let's keep ourselves grounded in fact and what we know.
Yeah.
Somebody made a little drawing of the castle.
Oh. Okay.
So what you're going to notice is down here is the laboratory, Dexter's laboratory.
JD, get out of my laboratory.
He was the first hostel.
Huh.
Good fact, Sable.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, so you see here, the first floor is nothing but businesses. The second floor here is where all the fun stuff happening. You see like trapdoors here. You see him going through.
What's he doing in the bathroom there?
There's a trapdoor in the bathroom under a rug that goes down into the basement, which is his laboratory. You see all these dead bodies here.
Oh.
And this is actually a mass grave pit. Ooh. This is actually pretty accurate to the descriptions. I'm pretty impressed. Who did this one?
I don't know, but
and we're going to get to this thing here.
It's very detailed for a cartoon.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, this is really
that
accurate.
Kind of reminds me of the Fisher, Lavinia Fisher, and her drop.
Oh yeah,
drop bed drop.
The 6 Mile Inn.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first floor, and he has multiple fraudulent businesses. Every business is fraudulent, 100%. And I follow this guy on Patreon. He is the H.H. Holmes tour guide. That's what he does for a living.
Oh.
Literally. So, and he wrote like the detailed book about it. But he always posts newspapers that he finds like through the, what do you call it?
Internet?
No, they're not
Archives?
on the internet, but
like the library archives?
Yeah, the screen that, what are they called?
The thing that you have to like dial the...
Yeah.
And it goes
and
to the next
papers,
one?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Whatever that is.
It's at the library.
Yeah. So he always posts pictures on that. It's a great Patreon page. I'm not trying to promote him, but I might reach out for an interview because he does do a good job. I'm not gonna lie, but he finds all kinds of stuff, and a lot of the stuff he produces is like false business registrations for another Holmes company type of thing. You know, like for one that I seen was a Warner glass bending company that Holmes had started because glass bending was a thing. So he started this company. He got a loan out to get this huge furnace. Well, he found a different way to use the furnace.
That's what I was going to say. Like he already probably had the furnace, right? Was using it for something else?
Yeah, but
not as a pizza oven.
But when he opened this shop, the Warner glass bending company, he gets investors and they pour money in. So he'll say, hey, I have a friend, whoever, some fake name, John Watson. He is looking for investors for his Warner Glass Company business. So they would give him the money and they'd be trying to chase down this John Watson who doesn't exist, right? And so they'd be always just tied up. Anyway.
That's kind of brilliant.
Yeah, it's brilliant, but it would never work today because, you know, you got credit checks, you got internet. That was a long segue to just say that the detectives and the forensic team and all of Chicago's newspapers are now rushing into 63rd and Wallace, which is now a post office, because they want to find out who this guy really is. Who is this guy that just cold-blooded murdered 3 children? They start in the basement because where would they find bones? Most likely in the basement. On the second floor is...
it's supposed to be the rooms, right?
Yeah, it's the rooms.
So he had already built the murder castle when police then come searching for him.
Yeah, this is before.
Before he supposedly hung.
All right, so here's how... Just one more time. So he gets arrested and then the murder castle happens. That's how everyone starts a story, right? But if you do all the murder castle and what they find, then it's hard to go back and talk about the kids getting murdered and all this other shit. So I started on that part. He's in prison. He's had the murder castle for at least 6 years, been running it. The World Columbian Fair is in town, the Chicago World's Fair, and it lasts about 2 years. It's not like a fair you go and get like cotton candy and get on the ride. I mean, it is.
Isn't that the Ferris wheel where they had the Ferris wheel?
Yeah, they have a Ferris wheel, but it's not like...
waffle cone was invented.
Yeah, see, you're getting us off track. It's not like going and it's open for a week. This is open for 2 years as people are building businesses inside Chicago, right?
Well, right. You said that the fair, its purpose was to talk about like the new inventions and technology and stuff, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't just like a one-day...
Right.
thing. It was
2 years.
Right.
Yeah.
It was an event that was open for 2 years.
So detectives are now in the murder castle, which has been in operation for about 6 years. There are tenants, long-term and short-term tenants, some that had long-term contracts but then wound up in the basement. Anyway, they start in the basement for obvious reasons. And the first thing they hit is this hollow wall And I don't know if because we'll never know what it looked like. There are illustrations of it, but it must have been obvious it was a hollow wall because they could immediately spot it, right? And remember, a construction worker had to build that wall. Holmes didn't build anything. So however he did it, he was like, put me a false wall here. Anyway, they knock down the wall. They go down into the basement. It's really dark. There's no flashlights back in the day. This is in the
Lanterns.
This is in the 1890s. This is nothing but matches and lanterns, and they go down into the basement.
The New York World reported they encountered a wall that gave forth a hollow sound. As soon as this wall was broken through, a horrible smell encountered, and fumes like those of a charnel house rushed forth. Besides those quarters, in Herbert Asbury's vivid account, the second floor contained 35 rooms. Half a dozen were fitted up as ordinary sleeping chambers, and there were indications that they had been occupied by the various women who had worked for the monster or whom he had made love while awaiting an opportunity to kill them.
The second floor, trapdoors, and a lot of places that go down to the basement. As you'll see, there is a elevator, a human-sized elevator that goes down to the basement. Because the basement, as we'll get to, is the laboratory. That's where he's going to make a lot of his bones, his money, because he's selling skeletal remains and cadavers to medical universities. So when he said he killed 27 victims, it is more likely that he's killed over 270 victims, because we know from his ledger that he was pulling in at least every day $300. $300
Wow.
in 1890, not today.
To stay at the hotel.
No. That was just pittance. What he's really collecting on is killing these women and taking their money because they don't have credit cards. Everyone's using cash. So he is taking this money and he is logging $300 up to a couple thousand a day doing this. That's how we saw he can go to whatever city and book 3 rooms. One of these rooms, you would go in after Holmes says, hey, Maisie, 22 years old. She just started her second week at a small music shop. She's been in the hotel for 2 weeks. She's not from the big city. She's from a small farm town, small community, but she has a talent for music. She can play piano, exquisite, but oh my God, hearing Maisie's voice will just take you to another realm. Like, her voice was angelic. Anyway, she's been in this castle, the castle. If you think of Chicago, you think of 63rd and Wallace as the place to be. So not only is she working at the music shop, which there's not many, so that's pretty big. She's not only a secretary there, or a typewriter as they would call them, but she's also doing piano lessons. She was also about to perform her first role with one of the entertainment groups that were popping up in the fair. They would play, I don't know, every Friday, every Saturday, something like that. She was about to be the lead singer, but she had a problem. Just like all the women who come into this castle, they see Holmes, this handsome 20-something doctor who, you own this? Well, you own me. They fell for him, his charm, his charisma, because he's a psychopath. And
Socio, perhaps.
What?
Perhaps a sociopath.
I'm not really sure the difference.
Well, the psychopath doesn't know that they do wrong, but the sociopath does know, and they don't care.
She's been getting the eye from this doctor for 2 weeks now. She probably shouldn't have gave it up so early, but wow, right? Oh my God, maybe I'll be his wife. Not knowing that wifey from Holmes, real wifey, is upstairs in her own room, but she's hopeful. Anyway, this affair can't keep going on because, my wife, and plus, there's other women here. So she finds herself walking with Holmes because he wants to show her something. Yeah, I got these connections in the music industry, and there's this piano. Yeah, I would be honored if you play it. It is a piano from 100 years ago. It is in pristine condition, and it is staying at this hotel. It's in this room. She goes down there, nervous, She goes into this room. It's a little dark. There is no light. And she doesn't see a piano. She notices it's kind of a small room, more like a closet. And then she hears the door shut behind her and a lock slide into place. Mr. Holmes, I seem to be locked in here. Hello? Then she sees, which is highly visible, the pipe protruding from the wall. This pipe was not cut off at the wall to make it flush and not visible because Holmes likes to know. H.H. Holmes wants you to see the pipe. He wants to put a little light in there and have you see the pipe because then you can actually see the gas that is pumping in there, the toxic gas. You can see it because there's a lot of it. It's dense.
What kind of gas? Is it like nitrogen? Is it like...
It's swamp, I think. You can
swamp.
Today I almost wore my Shrek shirt that says I can't Christ. Today. I'm swamped, but then I didn't.
He wants you to see the pipe because you can see the toxic gas coming from it, and that scares the fuck out of you. Holy shit. This can't get any worse. I'm trapped in this room. All I can see is the gas coming in that I'm choking on now. I can't breathe. This can't get any worse. You know, I've been duped. I'm about to die. There's no way I'm going to make it out of here.
That sucks because she was singing, so like she would need more oxygen.
This is the end, and this sucks. There's no way it can get any worse. But Holmes had found a great solution because that wasn't good enough for him. I mean, a few times, trial and error before Maisie gets there. But then he found, hey, you know what? And that's another thing. He also leaves intentionally some of the bones there so you can see who was here before you. Holmes figured out, I love watching them suffocate. That's cool. That's really cool. But wouldn't it be cool if the wall was closing in on them? Now, this wasn't a real rotary wall, but it was designed so the walls do go into a diagonal and the ceiling descends. So when you try to run away, you get the sense that the walls are coming in on you.
Whoa.
That's cool. Now, Holmes is watching this because he's got a peephole, right?
Yeah, I was going to ask if he had like a glass window. Like, how was he watching it? That makes sense. A peephole definitely makes more sense.
You try to run from the pipe that's protruding this gas, and you feel like the walls are coming in on you because they're built slanted down and to a point. That's cool. As Holmes has his...
Cool is not the word I would use, but okay.
Ingenious.
Holmes has a peephole, which he's watching this, multiple ones. He's like, wow, look, she's so scared. Yeah, it's coming down in on you. That's cool, but let's step it up one more thing. What if I put asbestos on the walls? Let me line up some asbestos and let me kind of jerry-rig a little pipe with a little igniter that connects to the asbestos. So you start to choke on this gas, like Maisie O'Connor, 22, starting to choke on this gas. She runs. Oh my God, the walls are coming in. Then he flips a switch. It catches this asbestos, which is highly flammable, catches it on fire. So now not only is the walls crunching in on you, but they're now on fire. Holy fuck. You're literally in hell at this point.
Yes.
Like, imagine being Maisie.
I can't.
You literally just got this wink from this doctor. You probably shouldn't have given it up so quickly. But now you find yourself in this closet. The walls are closing in on you and they're on fire. Not to mention you can't breathe. That is fucking crazy.
Dang. Asbestos muffins. I bake these muffins as best as I can. So wait, but she was supposed to be singing and playing piano for him. Was there a piano in the room?
No. He gets her out of her room, knocks on her door.
Oh,
hey,
come
Maisie.
Here.
I got this. Oh my God, you're not gonna believe it. Please come see this. There's this grand piano. I'm not supposed to say anything, but it's in town. A very famous musician's gonna play it, and he's storing his piano here. You've got to see it. It's in this room.
Part of a bone was found in the contents of the ash pan, and another bone resembling a rib was picked out of the grate.
This is in his office. We've went into one room where the walls close in, and they did in that room. find not only a burnt heel, but they found plenty of fragments of women clothes, of female clothes, and bones to match. So now we're going into the office, the grand office of H.H. Holmes. A huge stove sits in his office, 6 feet high and several feet in diameter. Inside the stove, as Nicole read, was a part of a bone in the ash pan, and another rib bone was picked out of the grate. There was a chimney in the office, and inside the chimney, they dismantled the stovepipe and found, quote, a bunch of human hair, long and evidently female, end quote. Inside the desk was a ledger and a book of receipts signed by Lucy Burbank. This was one of the aliases. This was the bookkeeper. Today I got $300 from Maisie, who had it on her. It would every day record between $300 to thousands of dollars. Holmes would only rent rooms to ones who looked like they had money.
That's not discriminatory at all.
The reason he used Lucy Burbank's name, which was fictitious, is because when he sends you on that wild goose chase, you're looking, because it's not his fault. I didn't write this. Lucy Burbank did. Okay, where do we find him? It's not a him, it's a female. Yeah, it's another layer of complexity he adds to it.
Why? Because like you don't look for women in the 1890s?
That's it. Yeah, that is it. Okay. So inside the office, there was an elevator, what's called a dumbwaiter.
Oh, yeah.
Just large enough for a human body. Now, why would he need this elevator? Now, this is on the second floor. Why does he need an elevator that fits a human body on the second floor?
Well, he would tell the officials that he needs enough space if multiple people ordered meals, because that's typically what a dumbwaiter is for.
What?
A dumbwaiter, yeah, that is actually a thing.
It's not just for meals. It's also they have on every beach house here. It's just an elevator
for things, not for people.
Yeah, but not specifically for meals.
Well, yeah, dirty dishes and then like to take up the meals.
Yeah, but she said they're specifically for meals.
I didn't say specific, but that's what you like if you are wait staff and you have to bring the food. Like if you have like trays and stuff that you have to bring up multiple.
So he was serving guests? Why would he need a dumbwaiter that goes down to the basement in his second floor office? Think about it. What happens in the basement?
People die there.
People die on the second floor.
Okay, bodies are disposed of there.
Bodies are scraped to the bone or mummified in some way in order to sell them to med schools who don't ask too many questions so he can make his money.
Tramp says that's what they call me when I worked in a restaurant.
The reason he has an elevator that fits a human body on the second floor is because a lot of the killing contraptions are on the second floor, and you don't want to be dragging down a dead body through the first floor where all the tenants are coming up the steps going to their room, and then all the shops on the bottom. You don't want to be dragging a body there. You just want to throw it in an elevator and send it right down to the basement so you can strip it of its flesh and sell it to medical schools which don't ask any questions. That's what he would do.
Right. But
so it was his literal corpse factory. This is a little image of the corpse factory here, Mr. Mudgett's corpse factory. So that's what he would do. He would get you down to the basement because he's making a ton of money selling these cadavers to medical schools. More sinister than this is the amount of bones that were smaller than an adult's bones should be, were found in the basement on the second floor in the trapdoor rooms by the crazy contraptions he developed. Like just a lot of bones from little girls. And the ratio wasn't right. You had just as many little girl bones as you did mama bones. I don't understand. Why is there more bones from little girls than there are from adults?
Well, you said mama bones. So are you talking about adults in general or females? Like, it sounds like he's a sexual sadist.
The reason there's more bones from children is because Holmes is selling these cadavers. He's selling these bones to medical schools who do not ask questions in this point of time.
Right.
However, I got a skeleton of a 14-year-old girl. Even the medical schools who don't ask questions are going to be like, where did you get this of a child? You know what I'm saying? So there were more children bones. The ratio was messed up because he could not sell those to medical schools.
So it's not to say that he killed more children than adults. It's just the medical schools were not looking for bones of children. They were looking for adults.
Mm-hmm.
In still another room, wedged into the plastering where doors had been torn away, where a woolen shirt, a little girl's dress, and a pair of shoes, they had been embedded so long that the fabric scarcely held together.
Now, most of the remains were cremated in the big stove he had, were disintegrated, were gotten rid of. These, quote, piles of human bones were maybe 10%, if I was to guess, because he would get rid of most of them. He did leave some there for effect, so when you find yourself in one of these rooms, you see human bones and you're even more scared, but most of them he got rid of because he's not an idiot. Scattered all over the basement, a Dr. C.P. Stringfield picked up his first pair of bones. They were a pair of ribs from a child 8 to 14 years old. They had been there for about 2 years. Quicklime had removed all of the flesh on that bone. That means he's been doing this for years. How many have went through there? Nobody knows. He says 27. That is an understatement of a lifetime because the only way he's making money is off doing this. And he has a lot of money. So you would think this would be an every other day thing that he's doing.
Now, was he was specifically choosing the people that he would rent rooms to that he would kill?
Yeah, but only females. A lot of estrogen up in that bitch. A lot of bad moods.
Show you a bad mood.
Not much food being made, apparently.
Well, maybe because he didn't keep them alive and ask them to cook for him.
So much bitching in there.
Under this table where there were a number of women's skeletons, and one of the theories that gained currency was that Holmes sometimes separated the flesh of his victims from their bones and sold the skeletons to medical schools.
That was from David Frank's Torture Doctor. This was under his table, just a regular doctor table, like an autopsy table, because the basement was a laboratory. Mm-hmm. There was also a, quote, mass grave pit where other children bones were found as well, plus just a lot of bones in general.
So he didn't dispose of the bones in the stove?
Most of them he did, but it takes a while to do that, and he's only got one stove. In the back of his office was a step stool. Now, keep in mind, this is dark in this basement. They have lamplight, but Detective Geyer, who is manning this operation, is working with lamplight, but it doesn't really illuminate too much. You know, it's just a basic lamp.
Right.
There may have been 2 or 3 of them. So they're pretty much using the sense of touch and smell to find their way around because the lamp's not really illuminating too much. But he sees a stool. It's a handmade stool, like a step stool, nothing special, but it was kicked over and it's right in front of him. This is in the basement. And he bends down and looks at it and is trying to figure out what this is for. It does have some blood on it, which is weird. Looks like it's been kicked over. He stands up to get a better look at it, and then the back of his head hits what he immediately sees as a rope, a pretty thick rope that is tied like someone would tie a noose. This noose was different than any others that he's seen. He's seen a couple executions with nooses. They weren't covered in blood, in dried blood, that is, like this one was. The blood had soaked through every fiber of this rope. It was, especially at the bottom, it was just crimson red. There was no brown that you would see in a normal rope. It was just red. There had been so much blood that had been soaked through here. So let's talk about Laura Sullivan, another typewriter, secretary born to Irish immigrants, modest upbringing. Father worked long hours on the railroad. Mother took laundry to make ends meet. Laura's typewriting abilities was quite exceptional, and that landed her a nice upper to middle class job at a law firm in downtown Chicago, and she was there for an interview. Now, she would ultimately miss her 7:30 a.m. interview because, well, a few hours before that, she came to, not knowing where she was. It was damp. It was really dark. There's water on her face. It seems like someone just threw a bucket of water on my face. And then she sees this really handsome doctor who she just met hours before that was wooing her. And his face is kind of grimaced, almost demonic looking, and it's really scaring her. She immediately notices the scratching of her neck, and that's where she finds herself in a noose as this handsome doctor is pulling down on the noose and tightening up the rope. That's why she kicks out the wooden stool, and that's where it was found. Now, this man who is now looking at her with that grimace just a few hours before had given her hope that, yes, even though she has came to Chicago in hopes of getting a job at this well-established law firm, she may be a city woman. She's always dreamed of that life coming from a small community, but by golly, Chicago is the place for me. He instilled that hopeful future in her. He even knocked off 5 cents for her room rental. Anyway, as she came to, she saw this man who immediately started to tighten the rope, and she started to immediately gasp for air. H.H. Holmes just couldn't let her die like that, though. He wanted to wait, which you got to keep in mind, he is an exceptional medical doctor who has been obsessed with human anatomy and bones and how things work and arteries and stuff like this for a very long time, since he was a kid. He has perfected this method where he knows exactly when the pinnacle of pain from you suffocating via a noose hits. The most excruciating part of being put in a noose and left hanging there is the strangulation. This is when your carotid arteries and the trachea compress by the rope, the noose. The reduction of oxygen is obvious to the brain as the brain starts to swell because it's trying to pump in more oxygen that's just not there. This is called cerebral hypoxia, and it produces an intense pressure. Now, how long do you think someone could be strangled this way? Like execution, let's say the neck doesn't break and you're in a rope. How long do you think that would last?
10 minutes?
I'd say 20 at tops.
It could take up to 45 minutes for someone to die this way. Why do you think that noose was so well used? Because, wow, this is in my office. During this strangulation, you develop cerebral hypoxia, which increases the brain pressure, pushing against your skull. It pushes out your tongue. That's why you see, like in the movies, kind of thing, like when someone's getting, like your tongue is pushed out. Mm-hmm. You don't do it on purpose. You're not like, it's just stuck out there. Your eyes start to pop out. Your body defecates. The pressure is so intense, and the painful, violent jerks that your body makes, starving for its oxygen, makes it even worse. And while you're dangling around, you look over and you see Holmes sitting at his desk in direct view of the noose and of you strangling, you defecating yourself, with his feet propped up on the desk. And this desk was, I wanted to look up what desk H.H. Holmes would have. This is the desk that someone of Holmes's status would have. This is what you have if you are rich, you're in Chicago, and you want people to know that
you have money.
You are a man of money and power. This is called a Wooten desk. The actual word is the actual desk, which is, quote, the King of King desk, is the Wooten Patent Cabinet Office Secretary desk. This is it right here. Now, this is a fine looking desk right here.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
See, this top here comes down, and you can, do whatever you need sitting down there. But these desks right here, these Wooten desks, especially the Rockefeller edition, get up to $200,000 in, yesteryear's time. He's sitting at this desk, his feet are propped up, and he is watching her swing Can you imagine that? He is sitting at this grand desk. He had wooed her several hours before. Maybe she turned him down. That's why it's so quick, why she's there so early. But now she's swinging and his feet are up and he's enjoying himself a nice cocktail. He's got 45 minutes, but he knows exactly when that pinnacle happens and you are in the most pain that you can be in, because that's when he pulls his feet off the desk, he takes out his penknife, he walks up to you and slits your throat. So now you're still choking, but now your throat is slit, which the rope is pushing in on that and tearing off your head, basically. So you're bleeding everywhere. Next, we have what they found, what Holmes would describe as his elasticity determinator. And we have a photo of that right here. This is what, if you were to tell me what is an elasticity determinator in the 1890s.
Is he like trying to stretch their skin out?
This is kind of what I would show you right here. It's like a bondage sex thing almost. Medieval looking fucking thing. He made that himself, obviously, because who's he going to get to make that? Enter Neva Murphy. She enrolled in the newly established nursing program at the Illinois Training School for Nurses. She was drawn at a very early age to helping others, and nursing just made the most sense to her.
Neva's work at the hospital was demanding, especially during the frequent outbreaks of infectious diseases that plagued the city. She often worked long hours, tending to patients with unwavering care and attention. Her ability to remain calm under pressure and her gentle bedside manner earned her the respect and admiration of both her colleagues and patients.
So she found herself on the elasticity determinator, was obviously used to stretch out the patients. This is for torture purposes. He wants to see when the bones kind of snap off and when the arms actually snap off. Now, he doesn't actually want to completely tear the skeleton up because he's selling it, remember? But in Jeff Mudgett's book, The Great-Great-Grandson, he talks about this thing. And he says that he found a note that said that Holmes, in his diary, in the diary that Jeff has, he says that he wanted to create a race of giants.
Ooh.
He says that his great-great-grandfather was curious, almost like a Nazi scientist who perform different experimentations, and he's looking at it through a scientific lens. It is also getting him off, obviously, and he enjoys seeing the tortured victims, but he also has a curious mind as well, and he wanted to create a race of giants. So to do that, let's see if we can just stretch the shit out of them. And that's where you have the elasticity determinator.
It's interesting, too, because I feel like even back then in the 1890s, people were smaller than they are today. You know, like doorways, if you go to any historic house, doorways are oftentimes small, like shorter than the doorways of today.
That's true.
Yeah, it's called hormones, and all the hormones they pack into Tyson chicken, I guess. I don't know.
The elasticity determinator was an elongated bed fitted with straps to secure the victim. Holmes would slowly stretch the person, causing excruciating pain, and would eventually leading to broken bones and death. After the victims died, Holmes would often dispose of their bodies by dissolving them in acid or incinerating them in his furnace.
Like a St. Andrew's cross, but for torture.
So that's where I'm going to stop today, because I'm also going to bring in some of Jeff, the great-great-grandson's dialogue in his book with it. So that's going to make this episode super effing long. I want to do that tomorrow, though, because I can't find an effing book on this laptop. I thought it was on here. Like all the ones I have marked, the pages and stuff. Can't find it. So it's probably like on one of the drives or something. Oh. But I hope you guys enjoyed that. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I enjoy every episode. So
I mean, we'll be back tomorrow for headlines. And till then, good night, guys. You lovely, lovely people.
Run this shit.